Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Compton Phillips, Chief Medical Officer at CVS Health here at the Health Conference in Las Vegas, and you are watching Taking Stock.
Counting down to the close, today is Thursday, October 30th, and this is Taking Stock. I'm Ashley Mastronardi. It has been an incredibly busy week on Wall Street. On Wednesday afternoon, the Federal Reserve announced, as expected, its decision to cut interest rates by 25 basis points. However, stocks slipped following the decision when Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that a subsequent rate cut in December was, quote, not a foregone conclusion. Meanwhile, big tech earnings arrived after Wednesday's market closed. Microsoft, Google parent company Alphabet, and Meta all released their latest figures yesterday. Two more Mag 7 companies, Amazon and Apple, are set to report their earnings moments after today's markets close. And elsewhere, President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping met overnight in South Korea. Trump later told reporters that the meeting was, quote, amazing. Today on Taking Stock, we're going to catch up with Douglas Yones of Direxion, Austin King of Nomina, Teddy Fusaro of Bitwise. Let's go to that bell. That is a 15-second bell followed by 3 gavel bangs. Let's see how the markets close. The S&P 500 is down almost 1%. The Dow down fractionally. The New York Stock Exchange Composite also down fractionally. And the Russell 2000 is down 0.75%. Joining us now is Douglas Yones, CEO of Direxion. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. It's great to be back at the New York Stock Exchange, the home of ETFs, and thank you, Ashley, for having me.
Of course, so much going on in the markets this week. Fed decision came down yesterday, 25 basis point cut. Jerome Powell signaling we may not see a second rate cut in December. What are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The 25 basis point cut, I mean, it hit the market, but let's be honest, the market expected it. It's what we were hoping to see. Maybe we were hoping for a little bit of a larger move, and in some cases that played out, but I don't think that's been the big news story. I really don't. I think the bigger news story has been what's going on in tech. It's been a massive week in earnings. We've got a lot of the Mag 7s reporting, Tesla sort of leading it all off. I really think it's the earnings season that's driving the market right now.
All right, so we saw Google, Microsoft, Meta report yesterday. What are your takeaways from their reports?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you know anything about Direxion, we're a $60 billion asset manager. We focus on ETFs with leverage. And the way leverage works is just that. They tend to have double the exposure or triple the exposure on one single day. So if a security moves up 1% and our ETF is the bull, it'll go up 3%, and vice versa, could go down 3%. So most of the investors in the Direxion lineup of ETFs are focused on the markets short term, and they're watching what's going on, and we're seeing a lot of moves. And you know, I think the Meta story has been the big one today. We have, of course, a bull-bear leveraged ETF that focuses on Meta, 2x up, 2x down, and the volumes today have been breaking records, and that's what we would expect to see. Meta really came down. We saw with earnings and some of the CapEx exposure, Meta really dropped in stock price. A lot of short-term traders want to play that.
Amazon and Apple reporting momentarily after the bell. What do you hoping to hear in those earnings reports?
Yeah, I mean, the earnings that are hitting, it really comes down to a couple things. The biggest theme this year has been, if you look at the top 5 names in the S&P 500, over a third of exposure of market moves is coming from those 5 names. So the reality is it's the big companies, it's the mega caps, the big, what we call titans. Titans are moving the market. And so for short-term traders that look at Direxion for our lineup of ETFs, they want to trade the titans, they want to ignore the noise. And so for us, what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of our investors look at our titans exposure across semis, our titans exposure across tech, biotech, and of course energy.
All right, and President Donald Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping late last night. How do you think it's been affecting markets so far?
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example of the volatility we're seeing in today's market, right? We get those headlines, we see the conversation, we see those results, and the market's swinging 50 basis points, 100 basis points, sometimes 200 basis points in one day off of those headlines. That type of volatility, that's direction weather. I mean, that's why we build ETFs for traders that want to trade that. So the more positive news we see coming out of that meeting, we think the markets will react positively. A lot of semiconductors, AI, chips, that'll be the place where traders want to trade, and that's why we built the ETFs we built.
And what can we expect from Direction in terms of your ETFs? Can you tell us more about those? So excited.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to build ETFs for traders markets, for markets like these. We're going to continue to add to that Titans lineup. If you're not familiar with us, please come to our website. If you're not familiar with leverage, come to our website and learn what leverage is before you trade them. But if you're a trader, you know Direction. You probably know our semiconductor SOXL, that's really popular. If you're trading S&P right now, we have a triple levered S&P. But you can expect to see the same from us. We've got a lot of single stock filings coming up. We've got some basket filings we're going to add to that Titans lineup. Come to Direction.com. Follow us on social media, and you'll be up to date.
All right, thank you so much, Douglas Yones, CEO of Direction. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the New York Stock Exchange.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
So great to speak with you. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to take a walk to the NYSE Notables. Always my favorite part of the show is taking this walk. Hi, Vince. So we are walking to the Notables, and we have some quantum news. All right, so first we are going to focus on D-Wave. D-Wave is up almost 5.5% today ahead of its Q3 earnings. Those are going to be coming out on November 6th. Investors are betting on continued commercial momentum following new customer wins in cybersecurity, AI, and quantum sensing, as well as the launch of its Advantage 2 quantum computer. Revenue is expected to grow 67% year over year to about $3.1 million, while losses narrow. D-Wave's strong pipeline and new NASA contracts highlight its expanding enterprise footprint. And I did just interview the CEO of D-Wave, Dr. Alan Baratz, and he had a lot of exciting things to share on quantum. Next, we are going to focus on Carnival shares. They sailed higher today. They are up more than 1.5% as investors continue to reward the cruise giant's strong earnings, momentum, and improving balance sheet. This is the world's largest cruise operator, and they have delivered 10 straight quarters of record revenue, with net income rising sharply and bookings outpacing capacity growth into 2027. Management is targeting a 60% jump in net income next quarter. That's driven by strong demand and the success of its new Celebration Key destination in the Bahamas. All right, so we are going to go to a package earlier this week at Money 2020 USA in Las Vegas. FinTech TV's Remy Blair caught up with Google Cloud's Global Head of Regulated Industry Solutions, Toby Brown. Let's take a listen.
We're here at Money 2020 2025 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and today I am joined by Toby Brown from Google Cloud. So Toby, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, great to be here, Remy. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, a lot is happening as Money 2020 gets underway here in Las Vegas for this 2025 edition. So first and foremost, I do want to hear about what agentic AI actually means for financial institutions.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here. You know, it's always so exciting here at Money 2020. You have everyone from the ecosystem all around and talking about what's happening and what's new. And there's just so much energy, and it's great. I think when we look at, from the Google Cloud side, what we're seeing with the financial institutions is that they're really looking at agentic AI as an unlock for creating new capabilities that haven't been possible in the past. And we really see that playing out across all sides of the industry. So you look at, like, from a growth perspective, as an example, one of the top topics I think around Money 2020 this year is agentic commerce, right? So how are you using an ecosystem of agents to actually transact on behalf of customers. And certainly financial institutions is heavily invested in that. We actually just announced a big partnership with PayPal this morning where they're using our agent-to-agent and agentic payments protocols to embed their own payments agent to help their customers and merchants transact. And so we see a lot of financial institutions who are really looking at the distribution question, right? So how are people going to manage and consume financial services in the future? How can they build an agentic ecosystem that helps them thrive in that new world? And from our side in Google Cloud, we've been really focused on giving them an enterprise-ready platform to do that, giving them open source protocols that help them stitch all that together. And then you look at kind of more the defense or like operational efficiency side of the business, it's also a huge unlock there. Where there's a ton of just complex workflows in financial institutions. I think previous waves of technology really haven't been able to automate. You look at a space like lending operations, right? So much unstructured data, so many different edge cases, right? And variables. And so it's really hard to automate. But now we see a ton of progress using AI to unlock that automation. We look at customers like Wells Fargo who have deployed Gemini Enterprise across their institution now, and they're doing exactly that, right? So they are thinking about how you can create these agents in these very focused ways to really tackle that end-to-end automation.
Yeah, and Toby, here at Money 2020, there are plenty of announcements taking place. I'm glad you brought up that announcement that was just made here at the conference. But of course, when we're talking about financial institutions, the bottom line is key. So tell us how the big banks are utilizing AI when it comes to driving ROI.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's definitely top of mind for all the financial institutions. We actually just did a big AI benchmarking survey a couple of months ago. We hired an independent researcher to do it. And it was several hundred CXOs in the industry globally. And we asked them, where are you seeing ROI? And where you are seeing ROI, what have been the biggest drivers of success? And I honestly wasn't sure what we were going to hear back from that because, there's been more skepticism, I think, in the kind of media narrative recently. But what we heard back actually very much aligned with what I see and hear every day with customers, which is that they are figuring it out. They are scaling and operationalizing agentic AI. Specific to your question on use cases and where they're actually seeing that ROI hit, of course, the earliest area of success was really that low-hanging fruit around improving employee productivity, right, improving operational efficiency. Specifically, those were a lot of use cases like developer productivity, like marketing content generation and campaign generation. Also customer service, another really popular one, right? So using agents to not only handle complex customer interactions in a AI-only way, but also helping the human employees deal with more complex interactions in a more natural, elegant way. And over time, looking to now build that from a servicing and perspective to a sales perspective and to unlock growth from that as well.
Well, Toby, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule here at Money 2020. And thank you so much for sharing all of your insights as well as your perspective.
Thank you, Remy. I really appreciated the discussion. Have a great rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Taking Stock. Joining us now is Austin King. He is the co-founder of Nomina. Welcome to Taking Stock.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you call Nomina the Bloomberg of decentralized finance. For the viewer who's new to the crypto space, what does that mean and what is Nomina doing?
Yeah, so basically we've seen an immense amount of maturation that has happened in these decentralized financial markets, really, just in the past 6 months. So for example, just the past month alone, over $1 trillion has been traded on blockchains themselves. And so similar to how Bloomberg is a place where investment professionals trade traditional financial markets, Nomina is a place where people go and trade on these decentralized financial markets.
All right, and what does that look like? What is the process like if you want to trade on Nomina? Do you just log on? What is that process like?
Yeah, so you can create an account, top it up with a stable coin, and immediately you have access to these multiple different platforms where you can trade different crypto assets. So it's a very simplified experience compared to what we've seen historically, which requires a lot of technical expertise. We're very much going for the type of user who has experience with Bloomberg terminals and a lot of investment experience in traditional financial markets, but maybe less experience, actually working with blockchains historically, but brings that deep kind of history of trading.
What is your demo? Are you seeing younger investors on your platform? Is it a mixed range? Where is the demographic?
Yeah, so specifically where we're building it for individuals who are pretty well capitalized at a personal level. Traditionally, they have like an investing background. So, maybe they worked in an investment bank previously. Maybe they were at some quant trading shop. And these are people who are coming in and have made a decent amount of money personally, and they're deploying that capital into these on-chain financial markets to make more profits.
All right, and can you tell us more about this crypto project Lighter and how it relates to your business?
Yeah, so Lighter is a great example of the shift that is happening in the space right now. So Lighter alone, Binance is one of the biggest, if not the biggest business in crypto. The past 24 hours, they've traded $90 billion on their platform. Lighter is less than a year old and has traded $10 billion. So we're seeing a big shift happen in the space right now where trading was happening on centralized exchanges and they're moving to decentralized exchanges like Lighter. Lighter is one that's picking up a ton of momentum right now, and I think people should be watching.
And how do things like Lighter affect the wider crypto market?
Yeah, it's a significant maturation in two forms here. So one, it's a decentralized exchange, so the exchange cannot take people's money. If we think about FTX, that's what happened. It was a crypto exchange, but it was centralized. Lighter is offering that same functionality, but the people operating the exchange are just building software. They're not actually operating it, so they can't take the money from the exchange. And so Nomina links into platforms like this to let people run trading strategies on them.
All right, Austin King, co-founder of Nomina, thank you so much for joining us on Taking Stock.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Coming up, an interview with Teddy Fusaro of Bitwise. Don't go anywhere. I'm joined now by Teddy Fusaro, president of Bitwise Asset Management. They just rang the closing bell to celebrate the launch of their new ETF. Congratulations, Teddy. How did it feel to be up at the podium?
Thank you, Ashley. Felt amazing. I think that it was really a group of people who were up there to celebrate Solana's IPO moment, a special moment for the whole industry and certainly a special moment for Bitwise.
And what does the launch of the Bitwise Solana staking ETF represent in terms of for your broader vision for crypto investing?
It's really a watershed moment. What it means is that now traditional investors who like to invest through their brokerage account, through their wealth management platform, can now access Solana, which is one of the most exciting tokens and protocols in the emerging crypto industry, through the familiar format of an exchange-traded fund. It's listed here at NYSE, the home of ETFs. It's a very exciting moment for the industry.
This is like the second ETF, crypto ETF I'm covering in a week. Do you think that this is more of a step for crypto out onto the world stage and general acceptance of crypto, that now you're in these more traditional finance mechanics, if that makes sense?
It does make sense, and it's absolutely right. What we're seeing in 25 is the mainstreaming of crypto into the traditional financial system. And what we're going to see is more and more of that happening. We're going to see crossing over, the bridging and mixing of traditional financial rails with crypto rails. And I think that the ETF is one of the things that really represents that and demonstrates it. It's part of the reason that we're so excited to be here today.
What is your hope for this ETF?
My hope is that this ETF allows many investors who wouldn't otherwise get exposure to this asset, Solana, to be able to get exposure to it through the familiar and normal way that they access the rest of their financial lives.
And why Solana?
Solana is what I like to say is the fastest horse. It's one of the most exciting blockchains, and the reason it's one of the most exciting blockchains is because it has solved one of the classic issues in blockchain technology, which is throughput and speed. Solana is incredibly fast and it can process a lot of information. And in order to really be a part of the backbone of the financial system, as you know, you need to have the ability to handle a lot of data and to do so really fast. And that's what Solana can do.
And for someone who's new to the crypto space and they're like not sure like where to start, is this, you know, an opportunity for a newer investor? Is it for a more mature, sophisticated investor? Like, how can someone learn more, and how would you suggest that they get started?
Yeah, I think what's so exciting about now having our third spot crypto ETF listed on the New York Stock Exchange is that investors now have choice. We've had a Bitcoin ETF for almost 2 years now, BITB. We've had an Ethereum ETF since last year, ETHW, and now we have a Solana ETF. The thing that's so exciting about investors having the ability to use these products is that the issuers of these products, they need to comply with the federal securities laws. What does that mean? It means full and fair disclosure. The prospectuses, the websites, everything that we publish about these products needs to be fully disclosed. And so what I always tell investors is go to the website, read the prospectus, read the information that we posted there, learn about these protocols. We always at Bitwise lead with education. We think that's so important. This is an emerging asset class. It's something that people need to learn about. That's why we've spent so much time educating, because we think that ultimately if we do a good job educating, then investors will be able to make decisions for themselves, which is how we think the capital markets in the US should work.
And in our last 30 seconds, what is next for Bitwise?
The next thing for Bitwise is really an extension of what you just talked about. You said it's your second crypto ETF that you're covering in a week. We think there's going to be a lot more of those. We think that the regulatory environment has opened up. 2025 is a year that represents crypto going mainstream. I think New York Stock Exchange is at the heart of that. Bitwise is at the heart of that, and so is Solana.
All right, Teddy Pizarro, president of Bitwise Asset Management, thank you so much for joining us on Taking Stock.
Thank you for having me.
After the break, an interview with Solana co-founders Anatoly Yakovenko and Raj Gochal. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Taking Stock. I'm joined by Anatoly Yakovenko and Raj Gokul, the co-founders of Solana. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange and to Taking Stock.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, so you are here as the Bitwise team rings the closing bell. Can you talk to us about the Solana ETFs that went live this week?
Yeah, it turns out it's the highest volume ETF, the most successful ETF of the entire year, which was quite a surprise to us. And it's a big moment for Solana because as a blockchain, it's a wrapper for institutional adoption for the asset, which is a big step forward.
All right, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, this is a super exciting step. You know, the whole point of Solana is to build global permissionless markets, and now we are integrating with the oldest, kind of best markets in the world. So very, very, very cool to see.
Do you think there's been more of a general acceptance of crypto? We've seen Bullish go public on the New York Stock Exchange. We've seen Circle in the past year. Do you think crypto is taking a step out into the world stage with these ETF offerings?
Absolutely. I think the tides have turned incredibly quickly over the last year or two. And we're seeing that all of our conversations with institutions and all of the adoption is much smoother and much faster. But also in the interim years, what happened is the infrastructure got really battle hardened. So Solana's processing more transactions than every other blockchain combined at this point. And that gives institutions a lot of confidence in the stability and security of the network.
And who is this ETF for? Like, what type of investor?
I think it's for everyone that is curious about crypto and wants some exposure to the crypto industry.
All right, and what is a way that someone, before jumping into this, can learn more about Solana or different types of products that you offer?
Yeah, for users and consumers, you can go to Solana.com or follow @Solana on Twitter, and there's updates with thousands of applications being launched. For institutions and enterprises, you can go to whysolana.com, WHY-Solana.com, and it explains how the network works and the performance characteristics, which help people understand how to use it.
And what makes this ETF different than similar products that might be on the marketplace?
It's one of the only staking ETFs, and Solana has a yield, the 6 to 7% plus range for ETF investors, and it's underpinned by a network that actually has utility. So where Bitcoin is sort of store of value and has a money use case, Solana is sort of financial infrastructure where exchanges, stablecoin transactions, and transfers, and all kinds of other use cases have a home.
And for someone who might be new to this space, can you explain what a staking ETF is and what staking is?
Staking is a way to secure the network. So this is a first, I think, for the industry that we have a ETF on Wall Street that actually participates in securing the network. And as part of that, it gets a return.
Amazing. And what is next for Solana?
Everything.
Okay.
Tokenize all the assets. It's a global exchange for any asset that's available permissionlessly for any user, any enterprise. So, Visa's using it, PayPal, Western Union just announced that they're replacing a lot of their backend infrastructure with Solana and launching a stablecoin. But also we have tens of millions of users, and that's growing faster than any other network.
What is your vision, Solana's vision for internet capital markets?
I mean, we want to see markets for everything formed easily and cheaply and transparently. So I think this is the big transformation that's going to happen in finance is that you see the equivalent to Silicon Valley and Wall Street, but all on the internet that's global and interconnected.
And how does it feel for both of you to be here with Bitwise celebrating at the New York Stock Exchange in the last 30 seconds?
Yeah, Bitwise and NYSE have done an amazing job putting on a great launch event, and it's really surreal to see the new internet capital markets joining with the old capital markets. Everyone's just overjoyed.
All right, thank you Anatoly Yakovenko and Raj Gokul for that interview and for joining us on Taking Stock.
Thanks for having us.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for the show. We'll catch you tomorrow on Taking Stock.